Welcome to TTG Aussie Fest's Great Walks of Australia Masterclass. I'm Maddie Barber, Special Projects Editor at TTG Media, and I'm joined today by Liz O'Rourke, who is Executive Officer for the Great Walks of Australia at Tourism Australia, and that is one of the Tourist Board's signature experiences. So during this masterclass, we're going to be giving you an introduction to the Great Walks of Australia and talk about their USPs. We're going to hear from 4 walking guides who will share the key selling points for different trails across Australia. We're also going to hear some top tips for selling walking holidays and for incorporating a walking element into a wider itinerary. If you do have any questions throughout the session, feel free to ask them in the chat function on the right-hand side of your screen, and afterwards we'll move into the live Q&A room where you can put your questions to Liz directly. So Liz, I'm just going to give a bit of an introduction to the Great Walks of Australia. What are they?
Good question, Maddie. Hi, everyone. So great to be here today with you. And yes, let's talk about hiking. The Great Walks of Australia are 12 premium multi-day guided hiking experiences, all really unique and special, showcasing some of the most iconic landscapes and stunning wilderness locations in the country. Traveling in small groups with expert guides, guests stay in exclusive eco-luxury accommodation and receive outstanding hospitality, including fabulous gourmet food and wine, to experience a taste of each region that you're walking through. We offer 2 different styles of walks: lodge-based walks, where you venture out from the lodge for the day carrying just a day pack, or through walks, where you carry a relatively light pack with your belongings and hike through to a different accommodation location each night. So we really take the hard work and stress out of hiking, making it really accessible to get outdoors in Australia and spend some quality time here for people. We like to say you don't need to be Bear Grylls to go hiking here, or Steve Irwin for that matter. You don't need to wrestle with putting up a tent or eating dehydrated food. This is really about hiking in comfort and style and not roughing it. I think also too, Maddie, this is a really extraordinary way to experience the real heart of Australia. There's really no better way than to build that connection, than immersing yourself in the landscapes of this gorgeous country. And Australia comes to life so vividly through its flora and its fauna and its wildlife. So I think the hardest part about doing a Great Walk of Australia is really trying to pick which one.
Yeah, absolutely. And these walks are titled the Great Walks of Australia, but what exactly is it that makes them so great?
Yeah, good question. Well, like I mentioned, these are really premium walking experiences with outstanding hospitality. So everything is taken care of for you to ensure our guests have a really wonderful experience. They're 4 to 6 days in duration, so it's really the perfect length if your clients are planning a longer trip to Australia, but just long enough to immerse yourself in the experience and really get a feel for the land. There's small groups, so normally 2 guides per group as well. We average about 8 to 12 walkers per group. Sometimes that can go up to 16, but it's a really comfortable group size to travel in. We've got knowledgeable, experienced guides. They really bring the landscapes to life with their incredible stories and expertise. Exclusive eco-luxury accommodation, and that might be ranging from safari-style tents to minimalist architect-designed lodges and historic homesteads. Gourmet regional food and wine, it's always a real highlight of this trip. The guests are super well catered to. Dietary requirements are no problem, and everyone just gets incredibly prepared meals with the best of the local regional produce we have. And these are authentic, immersive nature experiences. So this is a true, real flora, fauna, wildlife experience. We have a really strong commitment to conservation, ensuring that we care and tend to the places that we walk about. And finally, these are primarily all-inclusive packages. So everything from your food, your wine, your accommodation, and often your transfers from the nearest town or city is included in your walk cost.
Okay, great. I mean, I know I would love to hear from some of the walking guides themselves. I'm sure all our agent viewers today would as well. Would you like to introduce the guides that we're going to hear from today and what they're going to show us?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, The guides are such a fundamental and integral part of the Great Walks of Australia. They're equal parts botanists, storytellers, cooks, historians, bush experts, and they're really the heart and soul of every group that goes out. They also keep your clients incredibly safe and take care of all of their needs along the way. So today, let's hear from them because they know these walks and these tracks best. To start with, we're going to catch up with Celeste from the Three Capes Lodge Walk in Tasmania. This is one of our newest walks to the collection and came on board with us in 2018 and has been booked nearly solidly ever since. Incredibly popular. And let's turn it over to Celeste and hear what she has to say about this amazing place she gets to guide through every day.
Hi, I'm Celeste and I'm a guide on the Three Capes Walk. The Three Capes Walk is really quite unique. It travels along these dolerite sea cliffs, which are the tallest sea cliffs in the southern hemisphere. So the views, as you can imagine, are spectacular. In June to September, whales migrate north from Antarctica and they come back down in the following months with their young. During that time, you will often see the whales breaching in the water from the sea cliffs, which is so spectacular. Looking down on them, you get the most perfect view. And it's not just whales that you'll see in the water. You'll often see seals that are basking in the sun, sort of sunning themselves down by the rocks, waving their flippers about, which is so much fun. What I love about the Three Capes Walk is people are always looking forward to the amazing views, but it's the vegetation and the little ecosystems that really surprise them. Each day you walk through a different type of bushland. It starts off in dry sclerophyll forests. You pass through buttongrass plains, heathlands, and you end up in dense, beautiful, thick rainforest. The lodges have these floor-to-ceiling windows which allow you to see a lot of the bush and surrounds. In some ways it still really feels like you're outside, which is really lovely. When you all sit down for dinner, you're around this huge table and you feel like one big family. The amazing host cooks you up a nutritious meal with local ingredients to fuel your body, and the atmosphere just feels great of an evening time. Mount Fortescue, which you climb on the last day of the walk, is actually my favourite part of Three Capes. Climbing Mount Fortescue, you walk through this beautiful rainforest, which always completely blows people's mind. The rainforest is really dense and old, something that you usually see in the mountains, but it's here on the coast, 300 metres above sea level. Walking through there underneath the tall tree ferns, you'll always see so many different types of fungi of all different shapes and colours. Moss and lichen just covers everything like carpet. It's really magical. Every month there's something new happening here in the park. In the winter, there's more rain, which brings the forest and bush alive. Little creeks and rivers pop up that you wouldn't usually see in the summer because it's so dry. As the summer goes on, different wildflowers appear and it gets really hot out there in the Capes, and you often get really blue, cloudless skies that have really good views up the east coast. So sometimes you'll see Maria Island poking off in the distance, along with Freycinet behind it, which is pretty amazing. On the last day when you arrive at Fortescue Bay, it's so much fun to have a celebration swim because you've been walking along these sea cliffs for 4 days and you've been looking down at the water, admiring it, but finally you hit a beach and you plunge in with your family that you've just made from the last 4 days of hiking together, and that's an amazing way to end the trip together.
Next up, let's take a look at the Scenic Rim Trail in Queensland. This is a brand new 5-day walk for Spices Retreats, which is a luxury retreat brand. They've done an amazing job, and it's through spectacular ancient Gondwana rainforests and across the volcanic plateaus of the Great Dividing Range. Let's check it out.
My name's Hayden. I'm one of the guides with the Spice's Scenic Rim Trail. We're in Queensland in the Main Range National Park as part of the Scenic Rim. I'm really passionate about guiding, I think, because I've always been sort of a curious and adventurous person, and to try and sort of bring that to as many people as possible. It's pretty amazing to bring a group of people into the forest and have them experience that, childlike wonder again. In terms of out on the trail, I'd say the special part is the Gondwana rainforest. So there's only obviously very small parts of that left throughout the world. And for us to be able to walk through and experience that is a pretty special thing to do. Yes, there's quite a few different locations that the walk goes through, so some different biomes. The first day is very much what you see behind me, so a fair bit of the grass trees and things like that. And then we move into the thick sort of rainforest, so Gondwana Heritage Rainforest. So even within that, you're getting all sorts of different biomes again. So down low, we're in the palm forest, up high, we've got cedar groves, and sort of everything in between. I think people are surprised and delighted when they finish the walk each day. So this is one of our locations that we finish at, the sunset deck of Amphitheatre. So the accommodation is absolutely luxurious. We call some of them eco camps, but camping is sort of a very hard word to put to them. We have a lovely chef each night who prepares us meals, all sourced really sustainably and locally, prepared really lovingly and just really good. Lots of different things to see out on the trail. Obviously a lot of the rainforest birds, we're constantly hearing different sounds and spotting different things flying about. Just today we saw koalas, kangaroos, all the good stuff. Probably my favourite section of the walk is heading down into Dalrymple Creek, which is the third day of our walk. So basically just the real belly of the rainforest, big ferns, lots of water, just really nice. Feels like you're in the absolute middle of nowhere. I really like to tell a lot of the Indigenous stories when we're out on the trail, and I think people are really receptive to that, to try and put your mind back to what it would have been like to move through this country. So sustainability is a really high priority for Spices, and so the entire trail was basically planned meticulously to have the least amount of impact as possible. I think it's the blend of those different elements. So the walk in itself is 10 out of 10. Then you add sort of the spices, hosting, the drinks, the food, and then again the accommodation. And that all comes together in this really nice package.
Now let's head out to the Maria Island walk with our guide Holly, who's going to show you around this incredible 4-day, 3-night walking adventure.
Hi, my name's Holly and I work for the Maria Island Walk in Tasmania, and I've been guiding on the island for 5 years. The Maria Island Walk is in the southeast of Tasmania and it's accessible via the little town of Tribunna, where you can catch a little boat over. The amazing thing about the Maria Island Walk is the fact that we go through lots and lots of different sceneries. So we walk on beaches as well as shrub and bushlands. And we also get to go on top of mountains, and so we get to scramble up there, and I think that that's really unique. The Maria Island Walk is so special because of the unique sightings of wombats during the day. Maria Island is known as the wombat capital of Australia, so it makes it extremely special to see them out in the daylight where you usually wouldn't in other places around our country. The land on Maria, it's got amazing geography, all different rock types on the island ranging from dolerite to sandstone to limestone to granite, which means that all the flora on the island is completely different. We've got mountains, we've got beaches, and we've also got a lot of history here on the island as well. So it's a pretty much everything on one little small island in the southeast of Tassie. The accommodation on the Maria Island Walk is really, really beautiful because the first 2 nights you have our wilderness camps, which really do feel immersed within the landscape and the bush. They're quite simple. We've got a beautiful 2-bed cabin, and then our main tent, which is where we have beautiful food and wine, and it has everything that you need for that night and that day. We also stay at a heritage house known as Benaki House, and this is a really beautiful house that has been done up to sort of represent what it would have been like in the early 1900s. However, we get some beautiful modern luxuries in there, showers and power. I think people should do this walk because it's a really fantastic combination of landscapes and challenge and flora and fauna and food and wine, and so all of that together is pretty amazing. And also we are in a remote place, but we're not too far away from everything as well, so it's a nice mix of all the above.
Finally, let's head over to the Murray River Walk with owner-operator and seasoned guide, Tony Charlie, who will show us around this 4-day, 3-night adventure, hiking and houseboating down Australia's longest river.
Hi, I'm Tony Charlie and I'm a guide on Murray River Walk here in South Australia. I've been guiding on Murray River Walk now for 6 years and I love it. I think it's the people that I meet and the people who come and share their amazing stories from all over Australia and some from around the world. Being a guide means that I too get to share my knowledge and stories of this incredible river system. I grew up here on the river and I know a lot of stuff, so it's lovely to share those stories about the pioneers who settled this area, some of our Aboriginal culture that's very rich and enchanting, and the beauty of a river system that one can't help but fall in love with, especially with their camera at sunrise and sunset. I think the houseboat accommodation, which is incredibly unique, nobody offers accommodation like this. It's totally authentic. Houseboats started here in the region in 1961. Of course, they're very, very modern today. And we move them each day to a new destination, the destination that you're going to walk to with your guides. The guides are an incredibly special part of the experience too. Not just there to guide you, lead you, care for you, share stories with you, but also to prepare amazing food for you in the evenings, a 3-course meal paired with local wines, which are award-winning, some organic, some biodynamic, a fantastic selection of food featuring 3 of our native fish, Murray cod, callop and yabbies, served in a bisque style. They're just some of the things that make this walk really special. One of the things you can look forward to experiencing on Murray River Walk is the encounter you'll have with many different species of wildlife. River wildlife include goannas, the lace monitor, a large reptile that's capable of climbing trees, echidnas. You're going to be interrupted by red and grey kangaroos on this walk. Also occasionally emus, and if you're lucky we might even bump into an emu nest with some eggs in it, or we may see emu chicks. We usually see around 60 species of birds per tour, and with our expert guides they will help you to identify them. Some of the most colourful species include the red-capped robin, a stunning little bird when it's in breeding plumage. One of the things that surprises people about Murray River Walk is the fact that there are no marked trails. We depend totally on our guide's ability to lead you through the bush, following the watercourses and also walking through the forests. One of the best clues for the best place to walk is to follow animal tracks, and that's largely what we actually do because they know the best contours to follow for the least amount of energy expended. So it's low impact walking where your guides really are the key to getting from the start of the walk each day to your destination.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Liz. And please do pass on my thanks to all the guides as well for showing us around their walking trails. We're just going to leave you now with a quick video. It's the Great Walks of Australia promotional video that will hopefully inspire your clients next holiday and perhaps inspire some questions for the live Q&A, which is coming up next. So if I could ask you to please watch that and then move on into the live Q&A room where you can put any questions you might have directly to Liz herself. We'll see you there in a second. Bye-bye.
I choose to see beauty where others don't know it exists. To rise to the sound of the waves and sleep under the shadow of mountains. I choose to escape, to take the path less trodden and learn the stories of this land. I choose nature in all its beautiful forms, not by road or in the air, but on foot, one step at a time. I search for connection to all that surrounds me, an awakening of my senses, and the knowledge that I'm right where I need to be. I choose adventure and the path in front of me, winding through deserts and wilderness, rugged and wild, across ancient landscapes and beaches untouched. I choose to walk through this land, Australia, for all these reasons and many more untold.
Okay.
How good was that video? Didn't that inspire you just to go hiking?
Yeah, it really did. It looked so beautiful.
Hope you all enjoyed it.
We've got a question coming from Nick already, which is great. He said, how long do you walk for each day? So I guess that's typically on one of the Great Walks of Australia. How long would visitors be walking for?
Yeah, good question. Well, most of the days will generally be around a full day hiking. So that might be, say, a 9 o'clock start, and wrapping up by typically about 4 o'clock. But they vary. So just depending on the itinerary, you might only walk 3 or 4 hours on one day. So you might not quite have a full day, and you'll always have plenty of stops along the way for morning tea and lunch. So there's plenty of time to relax as well.
Okay, great. And Amanda has asked, do you need to be an experienced hiker for the first Tasman walk?
Yes, that's a really good question. Look, we would say that you need to have a moderate level of fitness. You don't need to be an experienced hiker. So if you're someone who's really active, you go to the gym and you keep up a high level of cardio, 10 kilometres is about the average we say you need to be able to walk, and that is actually really achievable over the course of a day. So you don't need to be an extreme athlete by any means, but you do want to have a good level of fitness and mobility, I think, as well.
Okay, great. And Elaine has asked, how many Great Walks are there in total?
Yes, excellent question. So at the moment there's 12. So we have 6 on the mainland. We have 5 in Tasmania, and we have 1 on Lord Howe Island, which is just off the east coast, a 2-hour flight from Sydney.
Great. And Gilly is asking, how do we book these walks with a package? So how would an agent go about packaging them up for their clients?
Yeah, absolutely. You can either come through to me, and my contact details are on the website, or we'll leave them for you here afterwards. You can either come through to me and I'll put you in touch with each of the walks, or you are welcome to go to the walks directly. So on our website, there is a Book Now button. It has the walk operator's logo, so it tells you exactly who the walk operator is, and you can go through to them directly if you would like to.
Okay, great. Holly has asked, would you recommend some sort of experience to take part in these walks?
Sorry, could you just ask the question again?
Yeah, so would you recommend some sort of experience to take part in these walks? So would someone have to be relatively experienced with walking to take part?
Look, I don't think so. So I'll just quickly run through the walks, and I might give you just an overview of the categorization of them, and it might just give you an indication that there's really something here for everyone. So we have some easy walks, which would be the Murray River Walk in South Australia that you just saw Tony Charlie talking about. We have the Bay of Fires Lodge Walk in the northeastern tip of Tasmania, and we have the Cape to Cape Walk in Western Australia. Then we have our easy to moderate walks. So these ones are a little bit more of an undulating terrain, perhaps not quite as flat, but still really achievable for anyone with a moderate level of fitness. And that's the Three Capes Lodge Walk in Tasmania. We have the 12 Apostles Lodge Walk in Victoria on the Great Ocean Road. We have the Freycinet Experience Walk in Tasmania. We have the Maria Island Walk in Tasmania, and we have the Aqaba Walk in South Australia, one of our outback walks. Then if you really want some challenge and you're looking for a slightly longer walk, we have our moderate to challenging walks. They're still really achievable for anyone with a good level of fitness, but it just means that there's a little bit more climbing involved, and because they are a little bit longer, you know, you want to be feeling quite robust and capable of taking on the challenge. And that's Cradle Mountain Huts Walk in Tasmania, one of our premier walks. We have the classic Larapinta Trek in Comfort in the Northern Territory to see the Red Centre, amazing. The Scenic Rim Trail in Queensland that you just saw, one of our great 5-day walks, and the Seven Peaks Walk on Lord Howe Island that I was just mentioning, just off the east coast of Australia and a short flight from Sydney.
Great. Thank you very much, Liz. A number of people here are asking if they can have access to that promo video to share on social media or share with their clients, or if you have a smaller version of the video that they could put on social media. How would they be able to go about getting that from you?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, anyone that would like that, I will send you the link, Maddie, and I can just share the link. It's up on our YouTube page, which is just youtube.com/Great Walks of Australia. So you can grab the link from there, or I will actually give it to you guys in a minute so that you can grab it today. But yeah, it is just under 2 minutes. So, and we do have some shorter videos on our YouTube page as well, if you would like.
Okay, great. Amanda is asking, would walking sticks be provided, or are they available to rent?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Yes, the walk operators do often either loan them free of charge. Some of them may have a higher charge on them, but generally all the equipment you need will be provided for free of charge, from your packs to your raincoat, so you really don't have to bring anything. And on those tougher walks where you might need some poles, they're definitely either available free of charge or for hire.
Okay, great. What do we have next? God, I've got so many questions. Do gold medal package these walks?
Good question. I'm not entirely sure, so I'll have to come back to you on that one.
Great. And we've got a question from Stuart. Which is the best walk for an active family with young children?
Oh, wow, that is a really good question. Look, the Aqaba Walk in South Australia actually does some family-friendly departures. So if you want to walk with other families, they do offer them at different times of the year. And I really love that walk for kids because it is in the outback. You get to see fossils, plenty of wildlife. So that's really cool. And I also think the Maria Island Walk is a great one to see wombats and the plethora of wildlife that you see on that walk as well.
Great. And I know you've kind of run through the ranges of difficulties of the walks, but Suzanne is asking, what is the absolute easiest walk you have? She says she has a slight disability, but would love to do one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing about the walks is that a lot of the walks, particularly the accommodation-based walks where you just stay in the one accommodation, will actually cater for people with either mobility, slight mobility. So if you've got a couple that maybe one isn't quite as mobile as the other, I would say the Murray River Walk is a really great walk. You know, it gives you a real slice of Australia, quintessential Australian experience, but say if you didn't feel quite up to walking the entire distance, they could arrange for you to just walk part of the distance and spend the rest of the day on the houseboat. So I think it's always really good to talk to each operator, because there are options available for everyone's circumstances.
Okay, great. Christy has asked, do you provide special walking boots? Do you leave your cases and just take a backpack?
Yeah, really great question. So everyone will need to bring their own walking shoes, and generally we're really specific in saying that you need to wear walking boots, just so that we don't get people turning up with running shoes and that type of thing. So walking boots will definitely be something the guests will be required to bring themselves. All of their luggage will be taken care of and stored for them if they don't bring it themselves. So on some of the accommodation-based walks, say like something like Freycinet Experience Walk, where you stay in the one lodge the whole time, you can actually just bring all your luggage with you. And any of the through walks where you're carrying a pack and you need to leave your luggage behind, it's all securely stored by the operator. So guests really don't have any concerns about having too much gear with them.
Great. Thanks very much, Liz. We're out of time already, I'm afraid.
Oh.
So many questions so quickly.